Hey guys, it's Joe Jewett from the Over the Line podcast here on Long Awkward Pause. Right now, Jack and I are losing our shirts in Las Vegas, so while we're gone, an Over the Line extra of sorts for you. On this show, we'll talk to three notable entertainment folks. Actor Adam Baldwin is a TV and feature film veteran, a regular on Chuck, whose film credits include Full Metal Jacket, Independence Day, The Patriot, and so many more. He now co-stars in the new hit TNT series The Last Ship. We'll talk to him later in the show. And the incredibly funny Weird Al Yankovic. You know Weird Al, one of the first and biggest stars in the world of music videos whose songs have parodied the biggest names in music. He's back with a new record. We'll talk to him later as well. But we start with the actress and model Brooke Burns. Brooke first came to a lot of people's attention in her 3 seasons on the worldwide hit TV show Baywatch. Since then, she's appeared in films and other TV shows, acting and hosting various programs. Right now, she pulls double duty as host of The Chase on GSN and Motor City Masters on True TV. Here's Brooke Burns. How are you doing, Brooke?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're talking about Motor City Masters, which will remind everybody right off the bat, airs Tuesday nights on True TV. Tell us about Motor City Masters.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a design competition show, much like Project Runway, but for car design. So we're looking for the next great American car designer. And most of these guys, you don't see out in the American public. They're hiding in their little art studios designing. And part of the thing that was really a draw for me in the show was that reality TV is going to be spotlighting smart, intelligent, passionate people about what they do. And we're going to get a peek into what does the car of 2020, 2030 look like. And then not only that, but because it's television, reality, you have to put that concept on steroids and look at, okay, we asked them to build a Transformer. We asked them to build a NASCAR race car. We asked them to build a Hot Wheels car. So it's a really fun show, and at the same time, you learn a lot and get to take a peek into the future of car design.
Okay, I know nothing about cars. I can look at a car and go, oh, that looks nice, or I like that color, or I know how to put the gas in it, or I know how to take it down to the oil change place, but that's about all I know. Are you like someone who knows about the engineering of this stuff, or
no?
Okay,
absolutely not.
Okay.
In fact, when Boone and Murray came to me, they were like, "Yeah, we have this car design show, and we thought of you." I'm like, why? But I think that the key element is that it really is. It's a design show. It's an artistic expression of these individuals. We have kids that just came out of school that are 20 years old, all the way to very experienced designers who are in their 50s, male, female. It runs the gamut. None of them have a specific advantage over the other because it really is about the design, the artistic element that you bring to the table. And they have individual challenges and then group builds. And they do build vehicles within 3 days, which is awesome to see what they come up with and fascinating. I thought it was going to be a hot mess on the showroom floor every week, but it wasn't. Most of the time, I wanted to drive these vehicles into my garage, and I was looking at them going, why don't these exist? You guys are incredible.
Let's get on this. Let's get on it.
I know, right? Let's do this.
If I have to ask you, obviously with Baywatch and so many things since you've been in the public eye, when you do something, people know about it. All right, so when I Googled your name this morning, and one of the first things came up was that you were in a car wreck earlier this year. So I have to ask you, I don't know how quickly this show came together, but did you sign the contract to host this car show and then go out and get in a car wreck?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, gosh.
No, I was actually on my way to my other show called The Chase on Game Show Network. But, you know what? It was one of those things. I don't think I've ever been in a car accident. Maybe one fender bender a billion years ago. But this guy took a left turn over a double yellow line looking for a parking place on the opposite side of the road, literally just in the middle of morning traffic. And I did everything I couldn't, go right or go left because there were other cars there. So slammed on my brakes and, thank God for my BMW brakes, but
and suddenly there you are in the middle of irony.
Yeah, I saved my legs, but not the front end of my 650.
All right, so you're hosting 2 shows now because you have the Chase over on GSN, and they're both on the same night.
Tuesday nights. One's at exactly. The Chase is at 8, and Motor City Masters is on at 10.
So your fans can follow you.
You're gonna be sick of me by Wednesday morning.
That's right.
That's basically the nutshell.
That's very good. Okay, I'll be honest. I was not a Baywatch person, so the first real experience I had, where I connected with you, was on the game show you used to host called Dog Eat Dog.
Dog Eat Dog.
Which is fun.
A great show.
I'll see GSN still rerun that every once in a while.
I know. It's not crazy.
So you've done a lot of acting stuff with Baywatch and some movies and some different things. And now you've kind of transitioned into, well, I know you still do a little bit of acting, but you transitioned to this thing where you are Brooke Burns and you go out and you're yourself and you host these shows. Are you more comfortable doing this kind of stuff?
I am. I mean, look, I love working. It's fun, and acting is great because you can go and be a character for 3 months, and you get to try out different occupations, like wearing different hats. And, where else can you go to work and be a serial killer? But just for fun. But, yeah, the hosting kind of started when, I was a single mom for 10 years, and I needed to find work that was more local and allowed me to be with my child more. And so the time commitment of certain hosting jobs was a little bit less. And inside of that, I discovered how much I really love I've always loved people and that I have a genuinely curious brain, so the hosting format really ended up, I guess, kind of surprising me in how much I enjoyed it and love just being myself with the people and the contestants on the show and getting to know, their lives and their worlds. Obviously, like we were saying, with car design, I didn't know anything about this world.
Yeah.
And it's been a complete education and also very inspirational. And now, not only do I have, new friends from this show, but I look at the world differently when I'm on the road, when I see cars, and get excited about what's to come.
You're a Texas girl, right?
I'm a Texas girl.
Do you? I might have guessed even that you were from Texas if I didn't just know that, because you seem like someone who's like, your personality is like bigger than life. Like you come across as very outgoing like that.
Thank you.
Do you still get back there?
I do. I try to get back as much as I can. My little sister still lives there, and she's got her 2 kids there. And so, it's definitely, it feels like my parents' town, but I loved growing up there, and it always feels like home going back.
So now I know you're in New York this morning. Are you based in New York now?
No, I live in L.A.
Okay.
I'm a sunshine girl.
All right, there you go. There you go. All right.
From New York.
Let's remind everybody about both shows. We've got The Chase, which is on GSN Tuesday nights at what time?
At 8 o'clock.
Okay, and then we have Motor City Masters Tuesday nights on True TV at what time?
At 10 p.m.
That's perfect. Brooke Burns, thanks for the time today. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
All right, have a great day.
Okay, you too.
All right, next up we have the actor Adam Baldwin, who's been on TV and in the movies for decades now. You may remember him as a regular on the TV show Chuck. He's also been in the movies Full Metal Jacket, Independence Day, The Patriot. His very first movie is one of my personal favorites, a film called My Bodyguard, which if you haven't seen that, you should check it out. We talk a little bit about that. We also talk about his new hit TNT series, The Last Ship. I'll tell you, at the time that I talked to Adam, I had not seen The Last Ship, and since then I've caught up on all the episodes, and I'm a fan of that show. Adam Baldwin with us, and we had a chance to talk. And we started off by talking about his hometown of Chicago.
I was born and raised in the Chicago area.
That's what I thought. Okay, then I have to start by asking you this, because I am a fan of Chicago baseball, but I have my team, so I need to ask you, Cubs or White Sox?
Northside, Cubs. Long-suffering Cub fan right here.
That's okay. A lot of people get that one wrong.
Typical Southerner. You're a typical Southerner.
Look, I'm wedged here between the Reds and the Indians, and somehow I'm a White Sox fan. So I can't explain myself.
Well, they're my favorite American League team. How's that?
Okay, all right, I'll give you that. Adam Baldwin starring in the new TNT series The Last Ship, which airs on Sunday nights. I know this is based on a book, and I'm sorry I'm not familiar with the book, but the show looks awesome. Give people an idea what it's about.
The premise of The Last Ship on TNT, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, is this. Stay alive, find the cure to a virus that has infected 80% of the world and caused societal breakdown. Save the world. It all takes place centrally on a Navy-guided missile destroyer, the USS Nathan James, the crew of which has a captain played by Eric Dane. Audiences will know him from Grey's Anatomy. He played McSteamy. So the ladies out there, you'll get an idea of why you want to tune in. He's my pal. He's a rock. He's our leader, and he's a great guy. And this will give people an opportunity to fall in love with him all over again. I play his second in command, the executive officer of the ship, and we have to save the world. Also aboard is a beautiful young cast of strong actors and some Navy people that have signed on to be in roles with us. And Rona Mitra is our female lead. She's a scientist trying to find the cure to this nasty virus.
It sounds like a fun show, because I know that basically you guys have been out at sea for a long time, and I can't remember, it's like the Arctic or something like that. But you've been out for a long time, and you're getting ready to head home, and that's when you find out that the world has gone to hell in a handbasket while you've been gone, and you're like our last hope.
That's right. Almost an allegory to Noah's Ark, if you will, with a military destroyer.
You've been in so many things. I think probably your last big series was Chuck, and you've now transitioned into this, and you've done a ton of movies and everything. And I've loved a lot of stuff that you've been in. And I'll be honest, in doing I didn't feel like I needed to do a lot of research because I know a little bit about you, but I was looking through some stuff today, and I found out probably the biggest surprise to me is you're not one of the Baldwin brothers. People have to think that, right?
That surprised you? Just because the name is spelled the same doesn't mean we come from the same area. They're a Long Island. They're the Long Island Baldwins. I'm the Chicago Baldwin.
Do people make that mistake though? I imagine they probably do, because there's so many of those guys.
They give me the question you just asked, so they know, and they ask about other people that might have that confusion. But I like to think of it as a conversation starter. I don't think of it as a negative in any way.
Yeah.
It gives me an opportunity to say, nope, I'm from Chicago and proud of it.
Well, I've always told people that you're my favorite Baldwin brother, so I don't even know how that works into the equation anymore.
You're biased. You're from Columbus.
That's true. This is true. Like I mentioned, you have done a bunch of other things. You've done a lot of feature films, and you've done. Are you still doing that Batman series? You've done a couple of different Batman things. Is that still going on?
There are some voiceover things that I've been involved in. There's actually a new one that we're starting to work on Friday, which I can't talk about, but we're very excited that we can add that to the collection.
I do want.
So yes, I do continue to do that work. It's fun. The greatest thing about voiceover work is nobody has to worry about what they look like. Everyone's cast strictly on talent, so you get to work with the most talented actors when you're doing voiceover work. You can come in your pajamas. You don't have to shave, which I hate shaving.
Yeah. I have to say to you too, in regards to the movie My Bodyguard. That came out when I was a little kid, and that movie had so many good messages in it, and I know it was a long time ago, but I never thought I'd get a chance to talk to you. I just absolutely love that movie, and I've probably seen it more times than I've seen any other movie. They used to run it on TV so often, and such a great movie. And thank you for that. I know it was one of your first roles, but that was such a great movie with you and Chris Makepeace and Martin Mull and that bully Matt Dillon. And do people mention that movie to you very much?
They do. I thank you very much. Near and dear to my heart is My Bodyguard, and I believe it's available on Netflix for people who want to check it out. It's a great show to give kids an opportunity to watch. It's appropriate for young teens, even 8, 9, 10, depends on your parental sensibilities. But it's a PG, maybe 13 rated show, but it's a strong, powerful story of friendship and loyalty and standing up to bullies. I've always appreciated that part of it.
Yeah, it's so great, and like I said, it's been a while, but I always remember that movie, and that is one of my favorites, and I just wanted to say that to you. We'll remind you, The Last Ship airs Sunday nights on TNT. It's a lot of fun. Make sure you check it out. Adam, great talking to you, man. Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You too. Bye. All right, and finally today, I had a chance to talk to one of my favorites, one of a lot of people's favorites, Weird Al Yankovic, who's been doing parody songs and awesome videos to go with him for decades. One of the biggest stars, I think, the biggest early stars of MTV and in making fun of a lot of the hit music at the time, and he's continued to do that over the years. He's been in the news a lot lately, getting a lot of attention for stuff associated with his new record, Mandatory Fun. Video for Tacky was the first one we saw, which is a parody on Pharrell's Happy, and then there was a Lorde parody this week as well, and a parody of the Robin Thicke song Blurred Lines. He does a great thing on that called Word Crimes, which is absolutely fantastic. Had a chance to talk to Weird Al Yankovic. How you doing, Al?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Well, first of all, congratulations on the new record.
Oh, thank you very much.
I have a question for you right off. I've seen a lot of press about the record this week, and a lot of people talking about Tacky, the first video that everybody's getting their eyes on. I know you're putting out a whole bunch of them, but I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, this is Al's comeback. Al's making a comeback." What do you think about the word comeback?
Well, I'm kind of used to it now. It's just sort of funny because I never really went anywhere. It's like, but I've been spending 3 or 4 years between albums. So by definition, every album that I put out is a comeback. But I'm just glad to be back at all.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, tell us about Mandatory Fun.
Well, it's my new album. It just came out. It's got parodies of Iggy Azalea, Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines, Pharrell Williams, Happy. There's a parody of Royals by Lorde and Imagine Dragons. Got your polka medley. Got a college fight song. Got 90s alternative rock. It's a little bit of everything. Yeah,
the video for Tacky, I know everyone's had a chance to see that by now. That's hilarious. That's got, of course, Jack Black and Aisha Tyler and Eric Stonestreet. Who am I leaving out? Margaret Cho. Who else am I leaving out?
Shaw.
Yeah, there you go. You guys must have had a lot of fun putting that together.
That was probably the most fun I've ever had at a video shoot. It was a one-take video, so logistically it was kind of hard to figure out because I started on the fifth. I'm at the beginning of the video and the end of the video, and in the meanwhile, I start out on a fifth floor fire escape, and I wind up on street level.
Yeah.
So every take I had to, after the camera was off me, I had to run down 5 flights of stairs while changing my clothes and wind up on the street. So I got my exercise that day.
I think we'll watch for the outtakes of that. I imagine there are definitely some things worth checking out. All right, I think one of the most interesting things to ask is always, did anyone tell you no? Because I know you ask for permission every time. Did anyone tell you no this time around?
No, I was very thankful that there was no drama or controversy whatsoever on this album. Every single artist was very cool with it, and looking forward to the parody.
I'm curious what your process is like. Do you let's take Happy for example. Was that something where you were just kind of sitting around one day and you go, that's a big song, I should do something with that, or does something, and then you just sit around and think Happy, Bappy, Cappy, Dad, and try to come up with something, or does something just click in your head and you're like, yeah, got to do this?
Well, it's pretty much the first way. I mean, I first determined what the targets are, and I knew pretty quickly that I had to do something with Happy because it's a huge hit and it's very catchy, and I thought it'd be a lot of fun. And it's sort of like that, where I would just sit down and make a list of every possible, pun, rhyme, variation on a theme, conceptual iteration. Like, what can I do with this song? And I'll just make lists and lists. And then I'll go down the list and say, no, that's stupid, no. And hopefully there's one idea on the list where I go, yeah, I could do something with that.
You were, for my money, one of the biggest stars. One of the reasons that succeeded in the beginning, I think, for MTV. Your videos having such an impact as early as they did. Talk about the decision to do things the way you have with this, with putting together 8 videos and then rolling them out, one right after the other here in the beginning of Mandatory Fun.
Well, we're obviously in a different time because, MTV is not really music television anymore, and the Internet is the new MTV. And the other thing about the Internet is it's a very, very viral environment. I mean, and people consume things much more quickly these days. So I figured the best way to get people's attention was to release a bunch of videos basically all at once, except give each video its own day, so it could go viral for a day, and that way people would be talking about the album, hopefully for the entire week of a release.
I got to imagine when you made these phone calls to get like we said, Jack Black and Stonestreet and those guys, that they didn't hesitate very, very much.
No, I mean, they're my friends, and they were happy to do it. And there are a lot of people that I contacted that wanted to do it, but they couldn't do it on the specific day that we had scheduled. Because I got Jack Black first, because I knew he was going to kill it and knock it out of the park. So yeah. He was locked in, but he could only do it on June 14th. So the other people, I said, if you can't do it on June 14th, I'm sorry, you can't be in it.
Tell me he brought his own clothes.
I'm sad to say that a lot of those clothes came out of my closet.
Those were yours. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they were very tasteful.
No. Thank you.
All right. In the last couple of years, we've seen you do a couple of different projects. Like I mentioned to you off air, we've talked to you about the children's books that you've done. What else do you want to do? Like, what's the next thing? Is the next thing going to be another record? Are you going to do another book? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. I really have no firm. The only plan of sorts is that next year we'll definitely be doing the mandatory tour. We have no dates booked and there's nothing confirmed, but there will be a tour next year. Other than that, I'm just going to kind of after this promotional tour, I'm going to take a little vacation and then kind of see where things are at that point. I mean, I still want to be doing music, and I still want to be doing videos, and I'd love to do another children's book. And there's talk of me possibly writing a Broadway musical. There's a lot of things that are sort of like, being talked about, and it's a little premature to go into any more detail on that yet.
Help me out here. Mandatory Fun is an independent record, is it not?
No. This is it's on RCA. So
okay.
This is the last album on my contract. I've been under contract since 1982.
And now you're going to go independent.
Yeah, after this album.
Okay. All right. How do you feel about that?
It's exciting. We'll see. I mean, and again, I'm just weighing my options. I've made no decisions about it.
Yeah.
All I know is that at this point, I have a lot of options before me, and we'll see what happens.
I want to ask you about real quick how you actually take you way back to the beginning and how you actually got started. You mentioned you've been on a label all these years. How did that work for you? How did you convince somebody? Because you were doing something that nobody else was doing. Nobody else was doing this, especially to the degree that you were doing this. How do you convince a label? Well, no, I do funny parody songs, and they go, let's sign you to a contract.
Yeah, it was very, very difficult to get signed to a record contract back then because, as you said, nobody else was doing quite the same thing. And also, all the executives looked at it as like, oh, this is novelty music. This is like silly stuff. I mean, it's funny, yeah, but, we're looking to sign artists that are going to have a long career. And this is going to be, here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the irony of my life is because now here I am 30 plus years later, and a lot of the people that I was doing parodies of back then are no longer doing it.
I'll tell you what, it got listening to or watching the video for Tacky this week, it got me looking back at your YouTube channel and looking at some of the older videos and some of the songs that maybe I'd forgotten about because I just haven't heard them for a while. And
right.
One that really had me laughing was Ricky. I hadn't thought about that song in so long, and I was like, "Oh, this is so awesome!" I probably watched it 10 times that day. But
so old school. That was the first music video I ever did, and it was just so low budget, and we just thought, big deal, anybody's going to really care about this. And in fact, I remember there's one scene where, as Ricky Ricardo, I'm supposed to be shaking maracas.
Yeah.
And nobody remembered to bring maracas to the set, so I was like, I said, find me something that looks like a maraca, and we found a bowling pin. So I'm shaking a bowling pin really fast, hoping nobody will notice it's not a maraca.
Low budget, but fun. Real quick, I'm going to ask you one more thing. Setting aside the new record, setting aside the new videos, what for you has been your favorite video that you've done?
Oh, I usually go for White and Nerdy just because that's my most autobiographical.
Okay. All right. Excellent. We'll remind everybody, Mandatory Fun is the new record from Weird Al Yankovic. People can get that everywhere they'd get a record. Al, great talking to you today. Thanks for the time and good success with the record.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And that's it. My thanks to Brooke Burns, Adam Baldwin, and the great Weird Al Yankovic. For more Over the Line and laughs aplenty, check out the website at